I'm all about Boston College landing 4-star recruits. That gets me really going. But a 5-star, that's going to blow the roof off of this place.
You are Locked On Boston College, your daily podcast on the Boston College Eagles. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Locked On Boston College, your team every day. I am your host, AJ Black. I'm the editor and publisher of Eagle Insider, part of the 247 Network, and the host of this great podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel. This NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get yourself started now. On today's show, we're going to talk a little bit more about the football and the transfer portal. Got a few more updates for you and a big visitor that we talked about earlier this week. But the big news of today, and I honestly have to say it's the big news of any basketball discussion that we've had, is that Boston College is going to get a five-star official visit. And this is a big deal for the program. So who is this person? It's Toni Bryant, a 2026 power forward, a 6'9", forward from North Tampa Christian Academy in Zephyr Hills, Florida. And he is going to come up to Boston College on January 9th for an official visit. He is ranked, now bear with me here, folks, the number 11 recruit in the entire country for the class of 2026, according to 247. The number 11. He's rated a 98. That puts him up there with right below Cooper Flagg. And he's going to take an official visit to Boston College. Now, folks, I know what you're saying. Oh, there's been lots of big guys that have come to visit. Yeah, there have been, but they come for unofficial visits. That means they're in Boston. They come by and check out Boston College. Yeah, they're not that excited to get there. They might see some things. They might think it's kind of cool. But an official visit means there's no presumption here. This guy is interested in BC. He is a legit recruit. This is a game changer if Boston College can find a way to land him. And you're probably all sitting at home going, AJ, this is Earl Grant's program. How can this level of recruit watch Earl Grant and get excited about the future of this program? Well, there's a connection here. I just said he's from Zephyr Hills, Florida. He has a connection with Steve Smith. Steve Smith is the newish assistant coach that took over when Anthony Goings went to Georgia. He is a recruiting guru. This is a guy that brought lots of big names to the Seminoles when he was there. And now it's Boston College's turn to get that kind of rub. Toni is one of the best recruits of his class. When I tell you just close your eyes here for a second and listen to the schools that have offered him. And I'm gonna go through some of them. He's been offered by Texas A&M, Texas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Michigan, Louisville, Kansas, Iowa, Illinois, Georgia Tech, Clemson, and Florida State. Clearly, he has a lot of interest. This is not a kid that somehow slips through the offer, the recruiting classes, has like 2 offers and somehow is up there. We've seen that happen before at BC, where guys somehow are 4 stars, but they don't have any offers. This guy has Kansas is offering this guy. He's already taken one official visit to Cal. BC can beat Cal, especially if Steve Smith has that kind of connection with him. Now, what is going to change this? What is going to be the deciding factor here? I hate to be pessimistic and I hate to be um, realistic here, folks, but the connection with Steve Smith is obviously going to be huge and important. That's the starter, right? Like you can get money anywhere. You can get that anywhere. But BC, if you're going to get a guy like this level, a guy like Toni Bryant, who is top, he's 11. He's right outside the top 10. That would be, let me just pause here for a second. Toni Bryant would be the top rated recruit Boston College has landed outside of hockey and lacrosse, in basketball and football. Those two sports, he'd be the highest recruit they've ever landed. That's how big this visitor is. And that's why the school has to take this seriously. BC and the Friends of the Heights have to dig deep into their war chest here. And New Balance, they need to follow through too. New Balance is a partner with Boston College. They're paying for a lot of things here. They need to get a return on their investment. They're also going to have to put a little extra money in here. If you want your team to be competitive, you want your team to go out there and win games, you got to pay a little bit. And I've said all along, what Boston College needs is a shot in the arm. And New Balance has the opportunity to do that. A guy like Toni Bryant, a top 11 recruit, is a game changer for Boston College basketball. In a time when you turn on that TV, when they're playing an out-of-conference schedule, and it seems like 90% of Conti Forum is dead and no one's there, a guy like Toni Bryant, you pair him up with a Donald Hand. You pair him up with some of the guys. They have a couple 4 stars coming in next year. All of a sudden, you're starting to get momentum, and maybe the Earl Grant era that you're all worried about needs a second chance. I am not the biggest fan of Earl Grant. I am not the biggest fan of the way this program is going right now. But would I be willing to give him a chance if he could bring in Toni Bryant? Yeah. I mean, if it's between Earl Grant with Toni Bryant and blowing everything up with someone like Jared Dudley, and I love Jared Dudley. I mean, I was there when he was there. Then yes, I would go with Earl Grant right there. This is the type of recruit that would change this program. And I'll explain what that all means in just a moment. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel has so many ways to pick up your team with a W. I love betting on which players will score a touchdown, but I love the live betting. I was just watching the Sugar Bowl with Notre Dame and Georgia. I missed the beginning of this game, but I still got in like 2 minutes in with Notre Dame at plus 1.5 points. They won by 2 touchdowns. That was an easy win. That's what I love about FanDuel. You don't need to have to, you can, as quickly as you can think of what you want to do, there's odds available for you. So go over to FanDuel, join today. And that's FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Locked On Boston College, AJ Black here of Eagle Insider, and I love each and every one of you that have made Locked On Boston College your first listen every day. And when you're done with this episode, check out Locked On College Basketball. It's a great podcast with Isaac Shad and a few other guest hosts that talk about college basketball every single day on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. Now, we are talking about Toni Bryant. Now, this is not just a one-time deal here, a one-player deal here. He is bringing a teammate, and that is Caleb Sanders, a small forward, 6'6", same class from Tampa Zephyr Hills, excuse me, and he is going to be coming up on January 9th as well. Now Caleb Sanders is he has offers from Cal, and he has an offer from ECU as well. So he's got some offers as well. And from what I've heard from some of the circuits, the AAU circuits, he's a very solid option to get here. Now, the skeptical part of you is probably listening to all of this and saying, yeah, AJ, maybe this kid, Toni Bryant, is just visiting along with his friend. And yeah, if this was an unofficial visit where the kids just come up as a team, I would agree with you. We've had that happen many times in football where there's been, a couple lower recruited players. They just jump in with their big guy that is just looking for a weekend of something to do. He comes up and we all get excited, but he really had no interest. This is a different situation, though. This is an official visit. So if you, again, I'm not going to assume that you know the difference between an official and an unofficial. Unofficial means your parents, your mom and your dad, they're footing the bill to get you up to Boston College to check out the school. You're paying for it. That shows some interest in yourself, but sometimes an unofficial visit might mean on Thursday you're checking out BC, on Saturday you're checking out Syracuse, on Sunday you're checking out Pitt, and on Sunday evening you're getting a Rutgers. I don't know if that's the itinerary, but you know what I mean? Like you're hitting all the Northeast schools all at once. Unofficial means you're really interested and the school is really interested. So BC is not footing the bill to send Toni Bryant up to BC if he's really not interested. Then I just don't, for a school that has a reputation of being cheap, of not wanting to pay all that kind of the extra fees and things that go along with all the things that are going on with college sports, I just don't see that happening. I think Toni Bryant has to be a priority here. And as I said before, BC, the Friends of the Heights, you got to put in the money here. Getting Caleb Sanders here will be nice. He's not rated by 247 right now, but from what I've read, he's pretty good as well. So getting him here would be good as well. But when I look at what you're paying for Earl Grant, the players, all the things that go into college basketball, and then you go and you watch, you either look at the attendance. For me, I look at the interest on Twitter or my posts that we put up from guys I have writers that are there. There's no interest in this program. It is dead right now. Basketball is dead. And this is not a knock on Earl Grant. This is not a knock on the players. It's just the current state of BC basketball. There is just no excitement around this program. That's why when you're listening to Locked On Boston College, I don't talk about them that much because I'm a business, folks. Like for all you folks who are like, AJ, you should talk more about, men's soccer and swimming. Look, folks, I would love to, but I also like to make money. That's part of my job, right? Like I'm not just going to do this for the 5 people that want to listen to about women's, men's swimming. That's the same thing about basketball. When I do a discussion, I know my basketball stuff. I'm not stupid when it comes to basketball. I know my basketball stuff. Even when I have the most interesting conversations, when I have the best takes or something to talk about, no one listens. It's because basketball at Boston College right now is a dead product. You bring in basically a top 10 recruit in the country to Boston College. You surround him with guys that are good, with Donald Hand, a 4-star. You have all these other players that are starting to build up. Your return on investment, if you're going from a business sense, is going to be much stronger than say, oh, let's pay half for a guy that's a 3-star. I really, really hope BC sees this. I really hope they understand that this is a business decision more than anything. You want to fill those seats up. You want to get eyeballs on your program. And Toni Bryant could do that. So I don't want to hear that BC can't afford him. I don't want to hear that he's out of your price range. Figure it out. Figure it out right now. Because If you are not able to spend that kind of money, then get out of college basketball because it's not worth your time. If you're just going to cheap out on everything, you're going to be at the bottom of the ACC every single year, and you're never going to be competitive. We just watched one of the most talented Boston College teams barely make it into the NIT because they just were not coached well enough to get further than that. I want to see this program succeed. I love BC basketball. When I was a student at BC, it was one of the things I like going to most. I love BC football. That's my crush. BC basketball is my love affair. I loved going to those games, and it sickens me to see them at the level that they're at now. And I'm not blaming the players. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying there's an answer right in front of you. There's an answer that you can go out there and get if you're willing to understand the business end of things. I know that Friends of the Heights doesn't have a ton of money, but work and figure it out. You have all this money in this school. Find a way to be competitive. And to be competitive, you got to put money into it. If you're just going to be cheap, you're never going to get out of the rut that you're in. I think this recruit, Toni Bryant, could be the absolute game changer for Boston College to get BC up to that next level, to get fans into the door, to get more money infused into this program, which will then be cyclical, but you got to spend first. And that's on New Balance, that's on Friends of the Heights, and it's on Boston College. Figure it out. And that's where we're going to leave this one. Toni Bryant will be here next weekend. Hopefully, Boston College can figure that out. That's my little diatribe. In our last segment, I want to talk a little bit about the transfer portal for football. There's a new visitor who we talked about. I'm going to talk a little bit more about him, talk about where things are at, and I'll give you some more updates. We'll be right back in just a moment. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions that you forgot about or you were paying for twice? That happened to me. I made a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place. Whether it's subscriptions, your spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit this year, Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved over $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when all of the app's premium features are used. For me, one of the best features is a subscription tracker. I use it to cancel services I wasn't using anymore. I've already saved a ton. Plus, with the goals feature, I've been able to automatically set aside money for my future. No more stressing about budgeting every month. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked on today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. rocketmoney.com/locked on. This is Locked On Boston College. I am your host, AJ Black. And if you have not done so already, check out our Eagles Nest subtext program. Is where I send you videos, I send you text messages, I'll give you updates on everything, including the updates on Toni Bryant. So if you want it, make sure you sign up. The code is Bill O'Brien Monster. It gives you a free month. I hope you check it out. Now, moving on to football. There's some transfer portal news. So let's start with the outs first. There were two new transfer portal additions this week. One of them was a surprise. One I totally even forgot was on the team. I'm gonna be blunt with you. Okay. The first one that was gone is Nigel Tate, and the other one was Regan Terry. Now, Nigel Tate was a class of 21 defensive tackle. He played a bit for like a season, and I told you guys on this podcast, I don't think he was even on the team this year. I'm not even joking. I don't think he was on the team this year. So I think he was gone. Now he entered the transfer portal. I'm glad that this move has happened because it gives you a scholarship. He was never going to make it past he was buried on the depth chart. I don't think he was playing this year. I don't think he was on the team. This was not a surprise. He was a 3-star recruit. Like if you were to ask me, like, was there anything he ever did that was like noticeable? I don't think so. I don't think there was anything he ever did that really caught my attention. So he's gone. He was from the Bullis School in Washington, D.C. The other one, Regan Terry, his dad, I believe, is in the athletics department. He transferred in 2022 from Arizona, another defensive tackle / edge. It depended on the year. I think he kind of fluctuated with weight, like whether he was an edge or a defensive tackle. He played 5 snaps in 3 years. He's in the portal too. I don't ever rip on anyone. I'm not going to do that at least for this. I'm not going to rip on him. But it's a chance for him. I always look at the portal. At least I don't rip on kids for entering the portal. Let me rephrase what I just said. I don't rip on kids for entering the portal. Terry wasn't going to play here. Tate was never going to play here. It's good that they enter the portal so they can find a school, whether it's at the G5 level, maybe it's an FBS school, UMass, I don't know, to get a chance to play. That's, honestly, like, I just want these kids to be successful. Hopefully they find their role. That's two more open spots. That gives them 13 open transfer portal spots. Again, with the changes to 105 scholarship spots, I don't know. I couldn't tell you how many spots they're going to have because they're going to have to figure out all those preferred walk-on spots. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Now, additionally, there is one player that is going to take a visit, and I believe he's coming today if you're listening on Friday, and that is Idaho tight end Mason Minnie. Mason Minnie is a 6'5". He's going to be a sophomore next year. He just played his first year as a tight end. He was a quarterback coming out of high school. He had 7 catches last year. Obviously, his numbers don't show off. But I keep reiterating, what a lot of schools are looking at are frames and body types and skill sets that can be developed. A 6'5" pass catcher at tight end, you can't teach that. He's there. You could just develop him a little bit. You've got something. He's also going to check out, I think he's at Michigan State right now. He's going to check out Wake Forest after BC. So BC is not the only school that's getting a visit from Mason Minnie. And so that is one thing to look for. I also want to say this is a short visit weekend. From what I've heard, BC is not getting any other visitors. Now, I will also say, when my sources that tell me these things, sometimes they are players that do visit that they just don't want me to know about. So maybe there's a surprise, but I will keep on it. And if I do hear more about it, I will go to Eagle Insider and I will post it for you. Because this weekend, I'm going to be skiing again, folks. I love my skiing. If there's one thing I do, it's ski. And I want to get back into running. That's my New Year's goal, but I'm not going to talk about that again. I used to be a marathon runner. I got to get back into that. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all who have subscribed to Locked On Boston College on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, and when you get your podcasts. Do both, because you can watch me on YouTube. We got our videos now. I know you guys have been dying for it. I'm doing it. Got my new basketball background for this one. For the podcast, you can listen to me in the car. You can listen to me when you're running, doing work, wherever you get your podcasts. I hope you do that as well. And we'll be back again on Monday. We'll talk about Georgia Tech and BC for basketball. We'll get into everything else that happened over the weekend. We'll have lots to talk about. Thank you all for subscribing, and we'll see you all again soon for another episode of Locked On Boston College, your team every day.